It seems every day we get a different report that this would be the day at which ByteDance would tell us whether they have a deal to sell TikTok to one of the various partners who are dancing with ByteDance. However, not so fast. Akiko Fujita joins us now because there are reports that the owner, or the founder at least, of ByteDance is reconsidering. I guess as the teenagers would say, Akiko, really?
Was not expecting that one, Adam. The reality is there is a new level of uncertainty that's been injected into the conversation because of what we've seen that developed out of China late last week. This is that expanded export control list that China put forward that essentially puts artificial intelligence and really the key technology at the heart of the TikTok app, at the center of those control lists. It essentially means that ByteDance would now have to essentially get a license and a government approval to begin negotiations of transferring the current technology they have in place. What China has done essentially is to say that they will now have a say because they've got the tools to either block a deal or delay any kind of deal. And that raises a lot of questions for TikTok and ByteDance founder Zhang Yiming, who is looking at right now anywhere from a $20 to $30 billion valuation for the app. The app will be banned, according to the executive order, September 15th, or need to be spun out by November. And Adam, I think to look at what's happening here, you can certainly look at past acquisitions between a Chinese company and an American company, or even a non-related company, to see how China has acted to get a sense of what China can do. You look at, for example, Qualcomm NXP. That was a deal that was announced prior to the November election in 2016 when President Trump won. But China used that as a bargaining or as leverage, essentially delaying their approval of the acquisition to be able to be in a better position on the trade talks. That deal ultimately never went through. And so right now we're looking at a 45-day timeline of some kind of approval from the US side as well as the Chinese side. The question is whether China actually sticks to some kind of deadline, because they do have a history of not necessarily doing that.
Akiko, I guess one question is that in many ways, if it were a PE deal, right, it'd be a lot of due diligence that the legal team would have to assess and making sure that there's a fair bidding process. I can only imagine how complicated this gets when you start to loop in the two largest mega powers in the world. As we know for right now, why did China wait so long maybe to step into the ring here and say, actually, we do have a say in this? And what does that tell you about how long we might expect to see this process dragged out? It seems like everyone and their mother has submitted a bid. When will we finally know who's ultimately going to take on TikTok?
So on the last part of the question, nobody knows, really. I mean, what we do know is that there is a deadline in place. We're looking at September 15th, where the use of TikTok is going to be banned through IEEPA. And then essentially that CFIUS ruling that said that TikTok needed, or ByteDance needed, to unwind that deal with Musical.ly by November in order to allow for TikTok to continue its US operations. Now, the first point on timing is really an interesting one, because when you look at the export control list, this is something that China has had in place. There have been talks about expanding that list, and it was up for multiple reviews. This is the first time we've seen the expanded list, or China expand its list, in 12 years. So you could certainly make a case here to say, look, China sped up the timeline here because they saw what was happening with TikTok and ByteDance. But the reality is, I think you also want to look at what China is looking forward to beyond TikTok. There were 23 additional technologies, science that were listed on that expanded list. You look at drones, for example. I was speaking to an expert yesterday who said, look, the next company you want to look to potentially is DJI, and whether the US goes beyond a government usage ban on that front, and whether China is preparing for that as well. So the timing and the announcement, certainly you could speculate that this was tied to TikTok, but China also, in expanding this list, is looking to potential moves by the US beyond this particular app.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.